Those days.
You don't remember that? All day?
You set up? We're ready? All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Mount Pleasant Industrial Development Agency regular meeting. It is September 30th, 2024, and it's 5:01. Going right to the agenda. First item is roll call. We have with us this evening, starting to my right, Don Farrell, Greg Hayden, Sharon Spina, Kathy Walsh. Council, we have Darius Chafazeda, and our chairman, Kevin Highland. Next item is approval of minutes for the February 29th meeting and the April 4th meeting.
Mr. Chair, if you could take two motions. The first one can be considered by you, Ms. Spina, and Mr. Hayden. That was before we had a 7-member board. You three were present at that meeting, so if you're okay with the minutes, we can consider a motion for that.
I approve.
Second.
Okay, Sharon, Don, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The April 4th meeting will be separate.
Yeah, that'll be, we have a quorum. Ms. Walsh is not here, so we can have Carl, Ms. Spina, Don Farrell. No, we can't, we don't have enough, so let's hold those minutes. I
Okay.
don't think you were here, Greg, and we don't have Ted or Joe meant to here.
Do we have to use a motion to hold that?
No, we'll just put it on for next agenda.
Okay. Next item is consider resolution authorizing the adoption of a uniform joint application for assistance with the Mount Pleasant Local Development Corporation.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, since we've set up the LDC, we want to have a joint application, so we're not having to hand out one to another. To the LDC, we'll have the power to issue bonds, which the IDA has only in very small amount of circumstances, and the LDC is a lot more flexible with how it can disperse its money. But the joint application will cover anybody's needs, and we'll just tell them to put not available if, or not applicable if it doesn't apply for the LDC. Okay.
So just to follow up a little on the CEO's comments. Remember, we created the LDC for specific instances. We've been sort of out of the market over the last few years. Probably about 8 years ago, I think Pace University went to the Westchester LDC, and they were the issuer, and there was I think, new dorm built some time ago. There may be some other projects for the not-for-profits, which the IDAs could not do, and also potentially some infrastructure work related to the North 60 and its impacts on our town, including water issues, sewer issues, drainage issues, which could benefit the town as a whole. So there's a possibility the LDC may be involved in some issuance then, which may be down the road. So we thought it incumbent to create the LDC, and this would be just a basic joint application that would be submitted depending on the type of project it is. If it's a straight lease transaction, which we've been accustomed to over the last, 10 years or so, it'll go to the IDA. If it's going to the LDC, it'll be a different transaction, and you guys will consider it. As part of that joint application, we'll deal with the other issues later, the fee structure. So that's the first resolution, just to consider the joint application from the IDA side.
All right, item number 3 on the agenda. I need a motion and a second.
Motion for approval.
Don?
A second.
Sharon? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The resolution regarding the agency fee structure, is that something you want to?
Part of it I like to talk about in public and have a motion on it. So generally, pretty standard across the board of LDCs and the IDAs. What is an IDA in Westchester? I think every community has an LDC or CLD, whatever they specifically call it. So there is fee sharing amongst the IDAs and the LDCs. It could be for cost of employees, could be costs of events. The IDA statute is very strict on spending of money. It has to be related to an IDA project. The LDC is a little more flexible, so there may need to be money from a project in the LDC going into the IDA for some reason for a project, or vice versa, with a lot more flexibility for the LDC. So this gives the authority to move money from one, let's say there's an IDA project and you collect $100,000. You can decide, I want $25,000 to go to the LDC, and $75,000 to go to the IDA as an example. That could be money to help fund some expenses of the LDC, could be used to fund some money for a project to limit the impact on taxpayers. So it's pretty standard fee sharing issue. There would be some issues related to people that work for the LDC, which I'd like to talk about in executive, but the general concept of fee sharing on projects is what we want to consider first. If you have any questions, be glad to ask.
Anybody have a question on that?
And that sharing would also only be, it'll be on the invoice to whoever's doing the project. We're not gonna transfer money from the IDA to the LDC. It'll be billed to.
Right.
So there'll be an itemized list of what the money is.
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you'd have to have some kind of a follow-up, description of what that transfer is, the
Yes.
purpose of it is.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, that's exactly right.
And is it an all or none, or is it you can pick out certain line items that make
No, you can pick out.
no sense? Okay.
line items.
And every transaction is negotiated?
Yeah.
Yes.
We have a fee structure in our application. Sometimes they want to pay less. It depends on how large the applicant is, the project is. For Sleepy Hollow was large. For others, it becomes almost, sometimes if it's large enough, it becomes, unaffordable, but it's pretty standard to negotiate those numbers.
For the record, Joseph Menta just joined our meeting. Number 4, I need a motion and a second on that to consider resolution regarding agency fee structures.
I move for approval.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 5, did you read that?
I could do it. I can address that, yes. This is a
I don't know what Yonkers has to do with it.
Yeah, okay, I can explain it. And Kevin may help me. So we received a letter dated September 25th, 2024 from the Yonkers Economic Development Corporation and IDA seeking additional volume cap for a deal. So the IDA is issued a certain amount of volume cap for a deal every year by the New York State Economic Development Corporation, if I'm saying it right.
It's called private activity volume cap. I'm sure Don knows this well. The feds don't want you just issuing tax exempt bonds, they put a limit on it. So therefore, each area is allocated by population, and we have less than $1 million worth of volume cap each year. But instead of us, usually by October 15th or November, the state grabs it back from us and we no longer have any control. But the state told Yonkers to go around to the other IDAs and solicit, if you can get their volume capital, make it easier. And they called us, and we happen to have the same IDA attorneys, and they've been helpful, and they say they'll support us next year when we need the volume cap for the Sleepy Hollow project.
Is that like piggybacking on a contract? Is it similar?
No, it's really just, everybody has their own little allocation, and that New York City uses the most of it, and the Housing Finance Agency, like they build these large high-rises, and they may cost $150 million, and they'll use $75 million in one year, $75 million in the next year, and they reserve it that way. But this, how big is the project in Yonkers?
$26 million.
26 million. So if they're getting less than, way less than 1%, or less than 10% from us, so.
We're not losing any, we're not using it, right?
No.
So-
Right.
And you
We don't have
can't
a
bank
project.
it till
You
next, for
can't
next
bank
year, so you're not
Use it
losing
anyway.
anything by doing this.
That's
They've
right.
asked Mount Vernon to, they've asked other IDAs that
And
don't
that,
have.
I've never heard of that though before. You can do that? The state says that you can release
Yeah, we
the
actually
banks.
got an email from Empire State Development Corp.
Okay.
about it.
Yeah.
And there's some sort of agreement that governs the amount so that the following year for Sleepy Hollow, we get that back, or?
Yeah, every year they issue a new allocation.
We
But-
don't get back what we gave them. We get a
No.
new reset from the.
We reset and we're gonna ask them for a little bit more, but we want this to kind of support because I used to do this for the state 25 years ago when everything was run out of New York City. Well, now they have these regional councils that decide it. So you need all of the IDAs in your area to support you when you're going for ours will only be a $10 or $11 million request for the project in Sleepy Hollow next year.
Pretty much it.
Okay, I need a motion and a second on item 5 to consider resolution to authorize assignment of all or portion of the agency's 24 volume cap allocation to Yonkers Economic Development Corporation.
My motion.
I second.
Sharon, second by Kathy. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, considering any new business projects. It's not like Joe Biden reading everything,
Right, you're doing good.
whether you're supposed to read it or not.
We will be closing the Skyline Drive project probably, well, now it's the end of September, so probably in October. We've been going back and forth on documents, so that
Right.
should happen soon. That's really the only update on the active project. Obviously, there's pilot payments coming in every month that Kevin's dealing with and allocating to the jurisdictions that get the monies, but everything's running.
And
Pretty smoothly.
we're going to have an event for the Skyline Drive one, groundbreaking event that, please call on it. Any board members who want to attend, it's right over here on Skyline Drive. They're gonna be building 2 warehouses there. We approved this about a year ago, but it's taken a while. Rates have finally started to come down for them. And they have one of them pre-sold, and I'm not sure about the second, if they're just building it on spec or not. But it's an excellent project, and it'll fill out the corridor closest to 9A there. Those are the 2 spots, 14 and 16, right?
Wasn't that approved for something way back?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, be even
Office building?
Yeah.
for what?
Office building?
Way back when?
Yeah,
Maybe, I don't know.
More than 7 years ago.
Robert
Skyline,
Martin.
probably.
Oh, you've been, yeah.
I'm a little older than you.
Not from the IDA. The IDA didn't approve it as long as I've been here. I don't
No,
know.
not the IDA,
No, not an IDA, but something else.
planning board, I think.
Maybe.
Yeah,
That's when we were letting the county do all of the IDA stuff and taking all the fees and also subjecting their will onto us.
What we'd like to do, Mr. Chair, is to have an executive session on a personnel issue related to the IDA and the LDC. We can call it now, and then we can do the LDC agenda, and then we would do an executive session with the LDC also, then we'd come out back in public and finalize it if we can for both. So,
yeah, in case something comes up in the LDC that you may want to go into the executive
right.
session.
Yeah,
Also,
same thing.
So we'll move forward with the LDC.
Sounds good.
Yeah. You have it here, Carl?
Try to find it. Okay. Moving on to the agenda for the Local Development Corporation. It is still September 30th. It is now 5:15. Mount Pleasant Local Development Corporation will consider all business that may come before it, including roll call, which we did the roll call before. Same members are in attendance,
We can add Joe
and Joe was added,
Halfway through.
now.
I added before. Okay, we have approval of minutes for April 4th meeting.
Yes, we can do that. Mr. Menta, Mr. Farrell, Ms. Fina, and the chair were at that meeting, along with Mr. Lai, so you 4 can vote on the minutes if you've had a chance to review them.
I approve.
You reviewed it? You sure?
Yeah. He sent it to me like 7 o'clock this morning. Start reading, he said.
Motion by Sharon,
Second.
second by Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, consider a resolution authorizing and adopting a uniform joint application for assistance with the Town of Mount Pleasant Industrial Development Agency.
It's a similar motion to we had that the IDA just did, it's just the LDC adopting the same resolution.
Any questions from the board? Any motions?
I move for approval.
Don?
Yes, sure.
Is that Kathy?
Second, yes.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Consider a resolution regarding corporation fee structure.
Same resolution as before, on the issue about the sharing of the fees on the projects.
It's just a mirror image, that's all.
A motion and a second on that.
I move.
I second.
Kathy, second by Sharon. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Any new business from the board? At this time, I need a motion to go into executive session.
Move for approval.
Don?
I second.
Sharon? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We will adjourn to my office. executive session. It is 5:43.
So there's a motion by Carl to executive session leave, and then seconded by Ms. Spina, and all were in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So on the local development court meeting, we discussed the retention of the services of Kevin Highland, who's also our CEO of our IDA, to serve as the CEO of the LDC. After discussion, there's a proposal to pay him $1,500 a month. Is it retroactive to April 1st?
April 5th, I think we have down, right? Yeah.
To be the CEO of the LDC, and it'll be $1,500 a month. If there's any questions about that or consideration of the motion.
I approve.
Motion by Sharon,
I second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nothing more in the LDC. If you want to take a motion to adjourn the LDC,
take a motion to adjourn the LDC meeting.
I approve.
I approve.
Sharon, Kathy, all in favor?
Aye.
but I think we need a motion to adjourn the IDA meeting also.
Yes. Need a motion and a second to adjourn the IDA meeting.
Second,
Joe?
yes. Do you love the way it just answers you when you're talking to it?
I don't even talk to her ever.
Greg, you want to second that?
Second.
She's my friend.
It sounded like Bob.
Didn't-
I was listening.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned.